Hello students, this lecture is briefly based on the topic which students find out very difficult one, interest rate swapping, and we will be solving some of the exam question related with it. So let's start directly with the application of interest rate swapping, and it will then help you how to solve the questions of interest rate swap. This is the question 𝗜희. If you see the second para, you see first of all, you have a company and you have a counterparty. You have to check out the borrowing options for both of the companies, the entity and the counterparty. They both have two borrowing options, one at fixed rate and one at floating rate. So first of all, we have to check out which option are available. If you read the second paragraph, 𝗜희 is the company which can borrow the fund at a fixed rate of 0.5% if you see here second para, or it can borrow at a variable rate of SOFR plus 40% basis points. SOFR is the floating rate. It is basically the floating rate. Floating rate means the borrowing rate, okay? It is the borrowing rate. So we have two options here. 𝗜희 has the option to borrow at 5.5% or at floating option of SOFR and 0.4%. Counterparty. First of all, let's see the counterparty. If you see second last paragraph, Rosu Bank has offered 𝗜희 swap on a counter variable rate. It has a variable rate of SOFR plus 30 basis point and a fixed rate of 4.6%. So Rosu has option of 4.6 or SOFR plus 0.3%. Although there is a difference between LIBOR and SOFR, but in SWAP's calculation, they will be accounted for same. Okay, LIBOR is basically London Interbank official interest rate, and it is set by the bank panel bank inputs. Okay, it is set by panel bank input. While on the other hand, SOFR is the measure of cost of borrowing. It is the measure of cost of borrowing cash overnight. Collateralized by US Treasury securities in a repo market. Repo market means repurchase market. So basically SOFR stands for secured overnight financing rate, okay, on US Treasury securities in a repo market. Okay, now step number one. Step number one would be you will calculate differential on the fixed rated loan. So we have two options, 5.5%, and we have the other option 4.6. Differential means the fixed rate availability for 𝗜희 and fixed rate availability for Rosu. So we have a differential of 0.9%. Now similarly calculate the differential for floating rate. It is 𝗜희's SOFR plus 0.4 and Rosu SOFR plus 0.3. So basically here we have a difference of 0.1% because 𝗜희 can borrow at SOFR plus 0.4 basis point. Brother Rosu can borrow at 0.3% basis point. So we have a difference of 0.1. Now, according to this, we will decide the loan with larger differential. It is fixed. So our first question is, who should borrow fixed? Definitely, we will go for cheaper option, the fixed rate option for the company, which will save the interest rate in a swapping arrangement. You see, 5.5% is available for 𝗜𝘁𝗃, and 𝗏𝘁 can borrow at 4.6%. So it is 𝗏𝘁 who will be going for 4.6%. So this means we have decided that 𝗏𝘁 will borrow at 4.6% fixed, while 𝗜𝘁𝗃 will borrow at floating rate, SOFR plus 0.4%. Now, at differential of 0.9% was there for fixed rated loan, and we have decided that it is cheaper for 𝗏𝘁 to have the fixed rated loan. So we have a gain of 0.9%. Okay, two companies entering into the arrangement, and we have decided that because cheaper option is available for 𝗏𝘁, this will save the both the companies 0.9%. And we have decided that 𝗜𝘁𝗃 will go for a floating rate. Now tell me, which floating rate option is cheaper? Either the option for the 𝗏𝘁 or 𝗜𝘁𝗃? For 𝗏𝘁, this means that if we are going for the floating rate option for 𝗜𝘁𝗃, 0.1% will be the loss because it will not be a right decision. Okay, now understand it. You have to check out the decision that will result in gain and the decision that will result in loss. So in case of fixed, we have decided the cheaper option is 4.6. 𝗏𝘁 will go for that will be our gain. But in case of floating, we have decided because both companies cannot borrow or fixed and floating. One company will borrow at fixed, other company will borrow at floating. So we have decided that 𝗜𝘁𝗃 will borrow at floating, and this will not be a cheaper option because cheaper option is with 𝗏𝘁 as well. So here we have a loss of 0.1%. So overall, there is net gain of 0.8% on this whole situation. So net gain on swap is 0.8. And what is the arrangement? If you see second last para, 70% of the any benefit accruing will go to 𝗜𝘁𝗃 prior to bank charges. And bank charges are 10 basis points. 10 basis points, 0.1% into 70%. So this is 0.56. This is the net gain attributable to 𝗜𝘁𝗃 before bank fee. Before bank fee. And after bank fee, deduction of 0.1 also. So the net gain to 𝗜𝘁𝗃 is 0.46. Now let us find out the effective interest rate to 𝗜𝘁𝗃 that he has to pay. It has to pay the effective interest rate. So we have two options here. One is 𝗜희 and other is 𝗤𝘅. We have decided that 𝗤𝘅 will borrow at fixed rate of 4.6%, while 𝗜희 will borrow at SOFR plus 0.4%. Now, we have to check out with swap, what will be the option, without swap, what will be the option. Okay. So without swap, 𝗜희 has the option to borrow at fixed rate of 5.5% without swapping. And we have a gain of 0.56%. So this means with swap, if you deduct 0.56 from 5.5, this is 4.94%. So we can say that effectively 𝗜희 interest rate would be 4.94% before bank fee. Add 0.1% bank fee. So the net effective rate is 5.04%. Okay, so this is the net effective rate. You can further explain this calculation as we have decided that 𝗜희 will borrow at bank rate plus 0.4%. Now 𝗜희 will pay the fixed interest rate of 𝗤𝘅, and 𝗜희 will receive floating rate from 𝗤𝘅. Always remember, the party which is borrowing at the floating rate, it will pay the fixed rate of other party and receive the floating rate from other party. So it will going to receive bank rate from from 𝗤𝘅, and we have been told that effective interest rate is, we have already calculated, it was 4.94% before bank fee. So this is plus, this is minus. Cancel it. So we are left with 4.94 and 0.4% negative. So it is the balancing figure. This is the amount which Kishi will pay at fixed to Rozu. So overall, if I explain it, that effective interest rate would be 5.04% for Kishi, inclusive of bank fee. And now you will tell Kishi will receive bank rate from Rozu, and Kishi will pay fixed interest rate of 4.54% to Rozu. So this is the whole arrangement, and after the swapping arrangement becomes mature, then the principal will be the liability on each of the individual company. This is not the swapping of principal, this is the swapping of interest rate. Okay, let's have another video on this swapping arrangement as well. Okay, take care.